Are certain mosques in the United States actively promoting radical Islamism while using American values to shield their activity? Mansour Al-Hadj grew up in Saudi Arabia and is now sounding the alarm in our nation's capital about this dangerous movement. Mansour, what do you mean by Islamism, and why is it dangerous, and how is it using American values against itself?
Yes, Islamism is the ideology of extreme Muslims groups who seek to dominate through the teaching or the extreme teaching of Islam. And that's Islamism seek, as I said, to dominate the world based on their views and their understanding of Islam. The bottom line or the ultimate goal for them is to revive the Islamic Caliphate and have Islam as the dominant force in the world. They are using American values such as the freedom of speech, freedom of congregation, and all that against the USA. Unfortunately, by because these are Western values of freedom of expression and speech, which they don't have in the Muslim and Arab countries. And instead of appreciating all these values that gave them the voice to express, even their anti-US sentiment and all that, they use it against the US. One clear example is their campaigning against APAC and their very harsh criticism for the US support of Israel. And, instead of seeing as a positive thing, they see it as a negative thing in terms of, they have no problem for Arab and Muslim nation to gang up on Israel and destroy it. Whereas, we as the United States of America protecting this um, sovereign country, with our tax money and with our resources, so that it wouldn't be annihilated as, the extremist Muslim group seek to.
Mansour, you are the director of reform in the Arab and Muslim world for Memory. And you actually sent me a bunch of clips. These clips aren't from Damascus. They're not from Cairo. They're not from Jordan or Iran. These clips are from the United States. And you sent me a bunch, so I don't have time to show them all. But I want to show this one clip that you sent me from Detroit, Michigan. Take a look.
You have two roles here in America: to teach about Allah and to frustrate the Zionist. Frustrate the Zionist with every single mode that is within your reach as a citizen of this country. Yes, this is your role. Wallahi, with every single khutbah, with every single dua, I frustrate the Zionist. I frustrate the enemy. Every single time you go on Fox News and you yell at that Zionist, Allah is rewarding you. Every single time you go to a protest and you make the Zionist uncomfortable, you are rewarded by Allah. They are the cockroaches of history and we are the liberators.
So, Mansour, why do you see this as a real threat and a problem for the American way?
Good question. I grew up in the same environment, similar environment. I grew up in the 90s in Saudi Arabia. I was a very devout Muslim then, and I've been taken advantage of and I've been radicalized by the same forces. They used to be called the Sahwa movement in Saudi Arabia. I remember changing all my music cassettes into religious sermons and all that stuff. Now I moved to the United States because I couldn't live in Saudi Arabia as a foreigner, even though I was born and grew up there. My salary is completely different than a Saudi citizen's salary. And my life, having been treated when I lived in Saudi Arabia as an equal citizen. So, I moved here because my values and the values of the United States aligned. And to my surprise, I found the same Salafist and the same Islamist who radicalized me are very active in the United States mosque, and this is something that I don't want my kids to be exposed to. And the unfortunate part about this is that if they adopt a more peaceful, tolerance, and loving concept of Islam, I wouldn't mind. But unfortunately, they teaching kids how to be radical, how to hate the same people who hosted them and treated them equally. Any Arab or Muslim, you know, wouldn't get any citizenship in any of the Arab and Muslim countries because they wouldn't allow that. In the United States, they've been given citizenship, they've been given all the rights that everybody is subject to in the United States. And instead of promoting these US values that give them voices, they do the complete opposite by promoting hate, promoting anti Americanism, and promoting the Muslim Brotherhood ideology that demonizes the West and, empower radical groups.
Well, I know that October 7th was a moment of clarity for you. Can you explain to me what you saw on that day and the weeks after?
Yeah, I was really shocked because, I didn't mention this to you. I am a graduate of Sharia, so I studied Islam. I studied the teaching of Islam and all that. And after October 7, I was shocked to see almost the majority of Friday sermons approving what happened October 7 of abducting innocent people, abducting, even now we saw babies and mothers. And these things used to be denied by these imams. They said, no, only combatant, only soldier were abducted. And now we found out that there were kids and there were elderlies and all that. And I was shocked because there are so many interpretations of Islam. And when I found that most of these sermons promote radicalism, to promote the same ideology of the Muslim Brotherhood and the same narrative about the conflict in the Middle East, I found it really appalling, and I was really shocked. I was shocked in knowing that these mosques are not independent and these imams are not independent because it almost identical what they've been saying about the conflict. Whereas in Islam, you have so many views about any specific subject. And instead of approving kidnapping and attacking innocent people and terrorizing people, I think some of them should have argued the other way around, that that is what Hamas did was not Islamic. They should have condemned Hamas immediately. I don't know why so many of them thought condemning Hamas is a trick question, whereas it is very simple evil act that must be condemned. And they also did not think that Hamas now brought all this agony and destruction on to the people of Gaza. And instead now same mosque are celebrating, saying that Hamas has emerged victorious, even though they say 85 of Gaza has been destroyed, over 60,000 people have been killed. And what is so scary about this is that it poisons the minds and the thinking of our youth in this country. And instead of, again, it's simpler, it's easier to promote peace, peaceful existence between different people. It's the same argument that they use. You can't argue or you can't expect people to love you if what you promote is hate in these mosques. If you go to memory and see how these imams promote really hatred against Christian, Jews, against LGBTQ community, against everybody. And then, whenever something happened, you would see CARE saying, oh, Muslim have been discriminated against, or there is this issue here and that. I mean, I think the focus should be on us, meaning Muslims should focus on Muslim issues, and we have a lot to teach a lot of Muslim nations who having problem coexisting. I think one of the noble thing for Muslim American or Islamic organization in the U.S. instead of buying churches with millions of dollars and converting them into mosques is that we could promote peaceful values that we have here. We have, you know, um, different ethnicities, different religious group live peacefully in this country. Where in Sudan now we have a war that almost 2 years in, and millions of people have been displaced. Yet nobody, giving any attention of telling people, hey, we have an example of peaceful coexistence. Why don't you copy something from, you know, something that we are living in as Muslims in the United States, and it could guarantee peaceful existence, and people can just go by their lives and live peacefully. This is one of the things that we could do as a Muslim American to the world.
Well, Mansour, this has been very insightful. I admire your courage. I admire your bravery. Thank you so much for coming on, my friend Mansour. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much.